Object-oriented programming, reference and value. So if we have a method called method f and we are giving it an integer parameter, the parameter is passed on as a value. This means that the method is getting a copy of the actual parameter, actual variable that is in the caller method. So this works in Java pretty much similar than in Python, PHP, C++, with integer type. And if the developer wants to have it, the parameter as it could be modified in the method, and then the calling namespace would have those modifications back, then there is a need to return something. So we could, for example, in this method f, we could return this x so that we are returning it multiplied by 4. And then the second thing is this reference parameter. So in Java and other languages such as Python, more complex data types are passed to a method as a reference. And this means that the variable in the calling method and the method itself are accessing the same object. So there is no need to use return, as modifications are directly available in the caller. Let's have an example of this, it will clarify things. Okay, let's see what it means that we have a value parameter or reference parameter. Let's just now take these out. We don't need these right now. And then we just have few variables. So first we have a integer x equals 10. And then we need to have some kind of a method that we are using to modify this x. Let's have a just public static void int method. And it takes this int x and then we do some things with it. First we print it out. X in the method so no, not this one but this one. Then we just increase the value of x and we would actually like to print it here in the main, and then again it main, and then we just call this int method with x. Let's see what happens. So in the main, in the first, we have the x is 10. Then we are printing it, it's 10. Then we are calling the method with x, it's 10 because we are giving the value here. Then we are increasing it, and then we are printing it out again. So then we get 11. Then we are coming back to the main and printing this x, and it's still 10. So in Java, when we have these basic variable types, we are giving them to the methods as a value parameter. So this, if we want to, and when we want to get this modification to the main, we need to return the x. So this is giving back an int, and now the x is here. And now if we run it, we get the final value of x is 11. So it's working as we are wanting, if this is the one that method if the increase is the way which we wanted. But if we have a different thing, if we have astronaut like this, and then we are printing astronaut name is astronaut name here, and then we are doing a modification in some method, and let's build the method. Astronaut method astronaut b like this, and then here we set a new name for this astronaut, and we didn't give it any name here, so let's call it Thor, and it's 25 years old. So then here we get set name, let's say Loki, and we are not returning anything, definitely not integer, so it's void. So now this function or method is not returning anything, instead this returned, but this is not returning, so let's run it. Yep, only 2 lines here. Where are the rest? We didn't call this method at all. Let's have it here. Now we can run it. So we are defining the astronaut Thor. We are getting its name. It's Thor. We are moving to this method. We are printing its name. It's Thor. Then we are changing it to Loki and printing it. It's Loki, and we are getting back to the main part of the program, and the name stays Loki. So this is how most of the languages handle this primitive data types between primitive data types and more complex data types like objects. So the integer is passed by value. This method is only getting the value. It's getting a copy of this variable, but in this more complex data type here, astronaut, we are not getting a copy, we are getting a reference. So we are using the actual same object here in the method and here in the main part of the program. This is important to know when you are building bigger programs, and so there are differences between the variables based on what type of they are. So as a conclusion, Java has both pass by value and pass by reference variables. They act differently, and developer needs to know the difference.